Hell yeah.
But as far as Mox, he's actually the one that first got me into deathmatch wrestling because the short of the story is I was wrestling Moxley in front of about 25 people in the upstairs of an opera house that by all means should have been condemned. And Mox was red hot at the time. He was like the CZW champion, the FIP champion. Everyone knew he was about to get signed. It was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wrestling in this opera house in front of like 30 people, and he slips up and he pops me in the jaw once. And I'm like, oh, well, shit. All right. So I pop him back in the jaw. And then for about a good 30 seconds, we just start fucking, unleashing on each other. Not dangerous, just, okay, let's do this. This is where this is going. Then we get backstage, and he's like, man, that was like a lot of fun. Like, you strike me the type of guy that, like, I don't know, like you willing to do anything. So would you like maybe do some death matching? Would you be interested in that, maybe?
Welcome to the Kill City Cup. I got the world by the balls!
Spooky Lou, another wonderful WrestleRoni for me and for you. I tell you what we do around WrestleRoni. When the ratings start slipping, we call in the big guns. I can't think of any bigger guns. There you have it. Ron Mathis, how we feeling, my man? So glad to have you, man.
Glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you. Let's just hop right into it. What'd you do this weekend?
Right off the bat, I have to think back it's Tuesday, and I have to think back to what I did on Saturday. It's Wednesday, isn't it? I was at XVW last night, which is in Dayton, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
So that means Sunday I was in Bluefield, West Virginia for PWL. And then the night before that, I had a Neo Pro in Akron or Toledo. I always get those two towns mixed up. So I'm actually just starting to unwind today.
Jeez, it was all those promotions you mentioned. I want to dip into. I love all of them. I watch XVW through their website, their ongoing stream. I make sure to keep up with them. Neo Pro, I love it. Brand new product out of Ohio. Let's start with night one. How was Neo Pro?
It was good. It was actually my first time there. Me and Bruce were originally supposed to challenge for the tag team titles, but anyone who's listening to this because of me knows that Bruce went back down with another shoulder injury recently. Mm-hmm. So he was out that night. So we got replaced by members only, and then one of them got sick. So we kind of did a mishmatch of DD Trash and members only, and we challenged for the tag titles. It was pretty fun. It was a good show, good crowd, and they were real hot. For my first time there, it's a good place. I liked it.
I've been enjoying their product. I can't wait till that show hits premier streaming networks where you can find their shows. What can you tell the audience or even fellow workers about working Neo Pro, working for those folks?
Like I said, that was my first time I was ever there, and the fact that when Bruce went down, they very easily could have just unbooked me because I was booked for a tag team title match, and so the fact that they just honored the booking and brought me in because I do this for a living, so losing bookings is really, really hard on me. So as far as I'm concerned, one experience with them, and they're 1 out of 1 in my book. I'm really happy to be there. Really professional place.
Hell yeah, good. And it seems that way. I mean, on my side of things, from what I see, I've never been to a show, but the product looks excellent. So I'm happy to hear you're up there working with them. What about PWL, Jeff Paul territory? How'd Bluefield go?
It went pretty well. He has the two different towns. He runs Beckley, and those are kind of like have bigger roster. And Bluefield here lately has been a place where he's just given a chance for some of the rookies to get a chance to get ring time, which is really important because That's the only way they're going to get better, is getting more matches in front of the crowd. So it was me and a few other people, and then I think most of the show was like Boogie Woogie's graduates, and everyone worked hard and did good.
Hell yeah. I was fortunate enough. A nice fan sent me your match with Tyler Jaxx. We love Tyler
Yeah.
Jaxx on the channel. What can you tell me about working Tyler Jaxx?
Well, that was the first time I'd ever had a match with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew they'd been working a lot with Jason Kincaid. So going in right off the bat, I was pretty optimistic that he'd be able to keep up. So I didn't pussyfoot around with him. And being the most experienced person on the show by about a decade, I took it as my responsibility to make sure we had to have an absolute banger. So I didn't take it easy on him. And he stood right up with me. And I was pretty happy with him. I'm proud of him. Looking forward to doing it again. Kincaid should be proud of what he's done with that kid.
Hell yeah, yeah, raw talent for sure. And like you said, you have Kincaid helping you out. Hell yeah. And you talk about
Definitely.
iron sharpening iron. We recently had Big Black Carl and James Frost on the show, and they were both
Nice.
over the moon that they got to work with you and that you seemed happy with their progress. What can you tell me about these two guys?
Well, whenever you can never tell when there's a new batch of rookies coming out in the independent territory, how many of them are just wanting to dress up and play wrestler and just say that they did it with no actual effort of getting better or applying themselves to their craft. So anytime I'm working with a rookie, I'm checking to see which one of the two categories they fall into. Both those guys are actually that they're determined to get better. They don't want to just be on the show so they can tell all their friends, "Oh, I'm a pro wrestler." Like they actually give a shit. So, like, as long as they keep working hard and like, there's a big trap. Like independent wrestling in West Virginia, it's good. There's a lot of hungry wrestlers, but a lot of people get trapped there. And that's the main thing is they need to, along with a bunch of other guys, get as many West Virginia matches and start traveling, go to other states, work with other different talent because that's the only way you get better. So I truly believe they're going to do that because they got the right attitude.
I'm glad you brought that up. There's a few that I'm worried is going to get trapped that's starting out. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Good words of advice. Now, you mentioned these play wrestlers. It sounds like you've had a few run ins. Let's go down that road for a minute. Tell me about these play wrestlers. You've been in the business since 2008. I'm sure you saw them all come and go. Give me a shitty story about a shitty wrestler.
Uh, well, honestly, that's the thing about the shitty ones. Eventually, like their faces all just start to blend together. It's like just a bunch of mixed stories that are the same thing, all mushed together. Like these motherfuckers that they want to meet you backstage and be like, "Hey man, you see my match?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What'd you think? But all they want me to do is like, "It was great, man. You fucking pound it." And that's all they actually want to hear. And then when you actually, even without, if you try to be nice about it, like these are things I would have done different in the match, and I would have tried. You need to work on this, which is the whole point in asking how your match is. And their little egos just can't handle it because they aren't actually interested in getting better. They just want to suck their own dicks. So like it's like just once you, in my mind, are suck my own dick type guy, like you don't even have a name or a face or an individual story to me. You're just into the mesh. You know what I mean?
I love it. That's why we got you on here. I needed some pull no punches stuff, and that's the route we're going. Do you think have most of those types faded away? Do we still have a lot of those types around West Virginia, PA, Ohio, Jersey?
It's not even exclusive to any one state. At least for
Mm-hmm.
my travel, every state has their underbelly of people like that, and then it's usually they'll fade one of two ways. Either they'll get sick of grinding and having to work hard, and they will, like you said, completely fade away and quit,
Mm-hmm.
or they'll find one or two places where they can travel 30 miles, and the promoter's going to let them do pretty much what they want because he's their best friend, and then they can still tell everyone they're pro wrestlers, and they have 4 matches a month. Which, don't get me wrong, like there's nothing wrong with it like. But you want your wrestling career to be as I don't want to travel and hit the road, and I don't want to be injured all the time, but I still want to get in there and do it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, as long as you remember and don't take for granted other people are dedicating their life to it. Other people are paying their bills with it. So you do you, but you still have to take it serious and treat it like a job when you're at it, because it is my job.
Hell yeah. I appreciate that, definitely. What about the flip side of the coin? Who do you see out here that is grinding, is doing it right, giving it their all, dedicating their life to it?
Well, like we were just talking about in West Virginia, you had Big Black Carl and Ice. They're working really hard right now, and then fucking Jaxx, that I just had the match with the other day. He's clearly working hard, like I said, but they're just getting going, so they need to start getting on the road. There's this kid in Ohio, off the top of my head. His name's Bryant Huff.
Okay.
Side Piece is his nickname. He's young, he's real ripped and athletic, and like he's one of those kids that I'll give him advice, and then I will notice him applying the advice, but it's not him running back to tell me, "Oh, look, did you see I applied the advice?" So I'd pat him on the head. That's what I'm looking for. Is people that are actually applying the stuff and not just doing it because it's what they're supposed to do. Doing it to get better.
I dig it. We never dipped into XVW. I dig the products. It feels different to me, and at the same time, you got the pyro in the building. The production's pretty slick. What can you tell me about working XVW?
XVW, I've been there for about 2 years. I've known about XVW my whole career though, because there's like a whole like Cincinnati and Dayton wrestling is very, very clicky, and it's usually if you're in this clique, you usually don't. I don't want to say they don't mingle much because they really do, but it's just like, especially with me I don't live in that territory.
Mm-hmm.
So I was never really, I usually picked one spot to work at and stuck with that one. And up until recently, XBW wasn't my spot, but now that they are, I've been happy what I've seen since I've been there, because they honestly before didn't have the best reputation in the area.
Okay.
Kind of just using whoever, but the owner, Tom McLean, he's made a serious effort in the past 2 years to clean up the company's reputation and make it something that people can be proud of working at. And the goal there is to always be running every single Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
If there aren't building issues or anything of the such. And that I think that's super important, because that's how I got all of my matches like built up when I was first starting. Because I had every Tuesday I had a booking, every Wednesday I had a booking, and then if you can still get your bookings on the weekend, that's where the local people can really get their match number up, and that's the only way to get good. So it's important. So I think he's doing important work, and I like having a weekly place to work too.
Yeah, and it's a fun show. On the fan side of things, man, it's something fun to watch. It's different. Has that ECW edge to it, but hell yeah, man.
Yeah,
I dig it.
I was actually just in the street fight there last night.
Oh, okay. Well, tell me about that. Who'd you fight and how'd it go?
It was me and Ganger, who you might know of him. I don't know if you remember, a few years back there was a big mass shooting in a bar in Dayton.
Okay.
And Ganger was actually the bouncer in the club, and he tackled the shooter and took him down, and he saved dozens of lives. Who knows how many people the shooter would have shot.
Oh wow.
And he was actually a wrestler that I've known my entire career. He's done some deathmatch stuff with Tremont in a few tournaments. But I actually teamed with him last night, and we wrestled Nate McLean, who is the owner of XVW's son, and Matt Vengeance, who's a Cincinnati, Dayton, Indiana hardcore guy. We had a fun little street fight. They have a street fight championship there that's in a chain, and it was a street fight division tag exhibit, I guess you could call it.
Okay, I dig it. Hell yeah. Hopefully that'll be hitting the old public access soon. That's how I watch it.
They were definitely there last night, because the public access guys aren't there every single week, but they were definitely there last night. So that one will be going up on the. If you check out the XVW Facebook, you'll see it eventually. Extreme Valley Wrestling.
Okay, hell yeah. And you can count on old Spooky Lou to share the public access stream for you as well. I didn't know if you was even aware, but most of the back catalog, you can go back and even watch past XVW events on their website.
No, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know that. It's right there on the Dayton TV website. I'll put the link in the description, because there's a lot of Ron Mathis on there. I promise you that.
Definitely check that out.
No doubt. You've been working Appalachian Championship Wrestling. Very, very awesome product around our area.
Definitely.
What can you tell me about those folks?
It's mostly a mixture of bot shows and studio wrestling. In the summer, he does shows in B-Dub's parking lots. Mm-hmm. Which are fun shows. It sounds weird when you hear it offhand, but there's never been, for wrestlers and fans alike, anyone that goes to them, they love them. Mm-hmm. And then he has a little, pretty much a NWA style wrestling studio, where when it's the off season, when he isn't doing his bot shows at his festivals and his B-Dubs, that we go in there and we film stuff in front of an invite only crowd. You go do the match and you walk over to the little interview set, like I said, just like watching Jim Crockett television.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also got coming up next weekend. ACW has a convention in Kentucky. I don't know any of these titles off the top of my head, but all this is on my Facebook.
Right on.
And then in a few weeks, I don't know my dates. I should have prepared for this. He's
No,
got the
you're a
Barnyard
busy
Beatdown.
dude, man. It's fine.
Yeah, but he's got the Barnyard Beatdown coming up, which at that one I'm going to be wrestling Bobby Beverly in a bunkhouse stampede.
Ooh.
So that'll be pretty cool.
That's something to be excited for. Hell yeah. Let's start backtracking. Let's take it back to '08 HWA.
Woo.
Yeah, man. What can you tell me about starting out? Who you were working with? Let's name drop a little bit. What was going on?
Well, I actually got it's some of this complicated local wrestling history,
Okay.
but I actually got trained by Cody Hawk, which is the same guy that trained Jon Moxley. There's your name drop. But I got trained by him at a school that didn't last very long. It's called the Ego Pro Wrestling School, which is short story is Cody ran HWA, which is where he trained Mox and LA Knight and Sami Callihan came through there and Nigel McGuinness, all kinds of guys. And it's kind of the story of my career. I was a few years too late. By the time I got trained, all of that was done. And it was still a good training because it's not like Cody didn't remember the stuff he learned. So I was still getting trained by the same guy that trained all those guys, but not quite as red hot as it was. It's, good place to learn, but you're not going to be getting your name out there like when all those guys went through.
Right.
So, but then HWA reopens, but without Cody.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a new crew of guys, and they were running, like I was just talking about earlier, weekly shows. So when I was new at wrestling, like I said, the only way to get better is get matches. So in my first year, I knew I wanted weekly matches. So I contacted the people at HWA, and that's when I started working there and getting, at the very least, one match a week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, I couldn't find any weekend bookings. And also, like I said, worked with a lot of people at HWA too. So I worked with Moxley there and wrestled LA Knight there and wrestled Sammy there. So it was, like I said, bad luck is in the timing that it wasn't what it used to be, as they like to say, but I still got a lot of cool experiences from being there.
No doubt. Talk about throwing out three huge names there. You got my dork senses all perked up, and I'm sure the audience. Jon Moxley, top of the game. LA Knight, top of the game.
Yeah.
Sami Callihan doesn't get the credit he deserves. But
He's
what
about
can you
to.
tell us about him?
I knew Moxley and Sammy way better than I knew LA Knight. I wrestled him on the other guys were regular weekly people, but by the time I got there, LA Knight was like he was trying to get his name out there, but he was still swinging back by on the rare occasion he'd be there, and I just got lucky to get in the ring with him once, which was pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
But as far as Mox, he's actually the one that first got me into deathmatch wrestling because the short of the story is I was wrestling Moxley in front of about 25 people in the upstairs of an opera house that by all means should have been condemned. And Mox was red hot at the time. He was like the CZW champion, the FIP champion. Everyone knew he was about to get signed. It was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wrestling in this opera house in front of like 30 people, and he slips up and he pops me in the jaw once. And I'm like, oh, well, shit. All right. So I pop him back in the jaw.
Yeah.
And then for about a good 30 seconds, we just start fucking, unleashing on each other. Not dangerous, just, okay, let's do this. This is where this is going.
Uh-huh.
And then we get backstage, and he's like,
man, that was like a lot of fun. Like you strike me the type of guy that I don't know, like you willing to do anything. So you'd like maybe do some death matching? Would you be interested in that maybe?
and I was like, yeah, that's like been my whole goal to start doing here, and I just have no idea how to get started.
Mm-hmm.
And he got me booked at a Mid-South King of the Death Match, and I did one death match with him in Cincinnati, and then that's actually how I got going and all that.
Hell yeah, thanks, Mox. It
Yeah.
helps us out here in West Virginia and everywhere in between, so hell yeah, good looks, Mox. Tell me about
Wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't even remember it, but
That's a busy dude. He's run into a lot of people since.
yeah.
And taking some hits to the head too. So you're going.
Yep.
Is this in year one? You go to IWA Mid South or year two?
Um,
three?
maybe not exactly 1, but close, 2, maybe 3, somewhere in that ballpark. I did he got me, but I didn't do like a regular run at IWA Mid South. Mox got me booked on Prince of the Death Match. Ian fucked me on money and got me a MRSA, so I didn't really go back.
Wow. Any other negative things we want to say about Ian Rotten while we're here? Because I believe
not that anyone doesn't know, he's a piece of shit. But luckily, right now he's not doing anything. But I will say this: he will fucking crawl out of the muck, and he will be back, and people are gonna work for him.
Right on.
Whatever.
And you can't fault the folks working for him. I mean, you gotta.
I can fault people for trusting him, like working for him, get your working, but actually trusting him and being surprised when he fucks you. Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, the word is out. The word's out on this guy. Come on now. Fair enough. You go to CZW from there. CZW was red hot at the time. What can you tell me about working CZW?
I enjoyed my run at CZW because, like, I'm still kind of reaping the benefits of my CZW run, because there'll still be people that when I debut places, I won't expect anyone to know who I am, and I'll have at least a handful of people that'll buy shirts. I'm like, oh yeah, I know you from Tournament of Death and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's another one of those things in wrestling. You got to take the good with the bad. Like, DJ's a lying sack of shit too, and he won't look you in the face, and he's not a good person. But getting booked there, like I said, it did nothing but good for my career. It's just I should have, without sounding bitter, I earned more there than I got. But he's a lying fuckwad.
Yeah. I've had folks, believe it or not, defend him on the show. So
I have friends that like him. Like, that's the thing. I'm a 38-year-old man. It's not like I can't have different opinions. So when I think he's a fucking scumbag, but that doesn't mean that someone else can have a different relationship with him. You know what I mean? The world's not so black and white.
Exactly. And of course, folks know you're not the first person to call him a scumbag, so it is what it is.
There's very few people that I will openly bury in public, and we happen to stumble across 2 of them in 45 seconds.
There you go. We got some time ahead of us. We might stumble across some more.
You'll see me dance around dropping names, burying people the rest of this conversation. The 3 exceptions: DJ Hyde, Ian Rotten, Bobby Fulton. Fuck them.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll watch that territory then. And again, folks know you're not we're not breaking news here.
Yep.
JCW, Ron Mathis. What the hell? What's going on in JCW behind the scenes, working for the Insane Clown Posse? What's that like?
It's a trip, but maybe not as much of a trip as you would expect. You know what I mean? Like, I did like a few tours with them and even calling them tours is a bit of a stretch. It's like 5 nights, 5 towns for me. I mean, their tour was longer, but it's 5 nights, 5 towns for me. I mostly, the whole tour, worked with some form of Necro Butcher and Madman Pondo every night. Mm-hmm. One night they actually had us after the match. They had the roster come out on stage and dance with them during a song. And I'm all about it. Juggalos are great people, but it's not my scene. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty funny to me that I can, like, when I meet Juggalos, I'll tell them, oh, hey, by the way, I've danced on stage with ICP while they sung Homies, and just watched their jaws drop. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not into them at all.
Never? Because you're around my age range. You didn't like them back in high school or middle school? Not your scene?
No, not really. It's never my scene. It's never my scene. I was more of a when I was in high school, I was more of a scream music guy. I was a pretty angry child. I liked the screaming.
Okay. Who was you listening to?
Typical stuff for the turn of the century. Mudvayne, Slipknot, Cold Chamber, shit like that.
I gotcha. Fair enough. Okay, yeah. And if folks look up old Ron Mathis matches, not to say you're an ugly man or anything, but you look like a different man back then. You look completely different. That's what's a trip to me. The hairstyle's different now and everything. Where do you think the change came from? Was it the death match wrestling, just being in wrestling, or what do you think?
I think it's just, when you're doing this for 15 years, there's going to be a whole lot of changes. And mostly with me, the biggest changes would have been that, learn how to work out right. Mm-hmm. And rather than just when I was a kid, just kind of not wanting to ask for help and just guessing. So that kind of changed my body. And then I was always under the impression that I couldn't grow facial hair. So I just never tried.
Okay.
And Pretty much I'm right, because here's the fact. I haven't trimmed or shaved or done anything to this in like 7 years.
Right.
If you left me stranded on a desert island for 7 years, this is the beard I would have. This right here. But I found out I could grow something in, so I was like, okay, there's a new look. And then as far as the double hawks, when I finally got to a point where I didn't have to work a day job, I remember like 2 years in, I started thinking like, 75% of people I'm on shows would have to work day jobs. So why am I not doing something crazy with my head or my face? Because I can get away with it. So that's when I thought of the double mohawks.
Good on you, man. Good on you. I mean, that's kind of a statement right there, that you can have whatever hairstyle because you're making money off wrestling. What can you tell the people about dedicating your life to wrestling? A lot of, hell, probably everybody I've had on here has had to work a shoot job to maintain the wrestling lifestyle. But here you are working boom, 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 every night, every weekend. What can you tell us about that lifestyle and how you get by?
Well, for one, I don't want to make it seem like I'm overstating what I'm doing, or have anyone just be like, bullshit, he doesn't have a job. Like for the record, I'm an absolute minimalist. Like, I don't collect anything. I haven't paid for an article of clothing in years. I just wear free stuff.
Okay.
I got to feed my dog, get my pre-workout, my protein, and keep my kids fed. And my wife works full time, so I'm in a dual income family.
Right on.
So
Okay.
I'm not trying to make people think that I'm making huge money being a no-name indie wrestler. I'm making enough for me to get by, which isn't a ton because I don't need a ton. But at the same time, I am pretty proud of the fact that I think I am a one of a kind in wrestling, that I have, like I said, absolutely no name value on me. Like, if you put me on an airplane and fly me across the country, ain't one fucking person in the crowd going to know who I am, because like I got, my certain areas where I work, and the people that have seen me work, I got my fans, I got my following, but it's all very regionalized.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like you would like in today's climate of wrestling, for anyone to make any sort of a living, whether it's a minimalist living or an extravagant living with no contract, but also no steam on the indies. I've never been that guy, but I'm still able to keep busy, even getting like not great paydays, because I'm not a name value, so I don't get huge paydays. Not to say the companies that I work for don't take care of me. They do.
Right.
But I have to make sure my merch game is on point, and I'm making every dollar I can, and I'm packing my lunch to take on the road. It's a real specific lifestyle, but it's fine for me. It wouldn't be fun, but a lot of people would live my life for like, oh wait, you don't have to have a day job and you just wrestle. Okay, that sounds awesome. And if they live my life for 2 weeks, they'd be like, dude, you are fucking white trash. This is awful. You know what I mean? But it is for me because I'm not a typical bird.
Hell yeah, and good for you, man. And I appreciate you being so humble and so candid about that. Making sure you get.
Everyone would know I was lying if I tried to act like I make this great living with, again, the name value I have. No one listening to this, but yeah, he's telling the truth. Like, I'd obviously be full of shit.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I say it all the time. More workers watch the show than fans. So yeah, we're gonna watch what we say the best we can. I'll try to keep you out of trouble here. I see you've even worked in my home promotion, Real Shoot Wrestling. Haven't seen you around since I come around, but what can you tell me about working Real Shoot back in the day?
I had a pretty good run there. Me and Brucey were there for, I haven't known since the time, but probably a good 2 years. We were on good 90% of the shows. Mm-hmm. We wrestled each other a lot. Like, we had some of our best matches against each other. One, that little church they ran, I can't remember what the town was called. Was it in Fairmont? It probably was. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. We had a really good match. I think it might have been on New Year's Day or something like that. But
okay.
That was the thing. There was no plan for that to be this big epic match. But like, we just went out there, called the whole thing in the ring, had the crowd rocking. One of the best matches we've ever had. And DD Trash started there. We weren't called DD Trash yet, but that's where we started teaming and started getting won our first tag title there.
Oh yeah.
Figured out our double teams there. And then it's just one of those things where eventually we weren't there for a few months. And then during those few months we started getting committed to other places. They started committing. We've tried to work together since, and just scheduling.
Come on, Tim. Let's get it. Tim's adding new shows every damn day at this point. Let's
Oh,
get DD Trash down here.
he's definitely hit me up in the past, no sense of time here, but at least within the past 3 or 4 months, trying to book me. We just couldn't make the dates work out. But because Saturdays, you got to think, if I have, there's 4 Saturdays in a month. So if I have 3 or 4 promotions that I have serious storylines in that run on Saturdays, it becomes very difficult because, you got ASW where I'm always in something, and then Rise in Pittsburgh, I'm the heavyweight champion.
Congrats.
Like that's half the Saturdays of the month right there, and I've only been talking about it for 7 seconds.
Right on. Makes
Which
sense.
that means if you're running Fridays or Sundays, hit me up because I got more openings.
I'll get in his ear. Hell yeah, I'm about it. What? Okay, so you say DD Trash started pretty much in RSW. Tell me about that conversation between you and Bruce when you decided, hey, let's team up and make a go of this.
I don't remember.
No,
I really don't, because at RSW it was more of just that was the story. It's I turned on him because we had that match I was just talking about. Actually, it was a baby match, and then afterwards I shook his hand and turned on him, pile drove him on the apron, and then the story was us coming back together. So it's more of a storyline than it was us thinking we were going to run with it. And then we both realized, we're getting. I guess I honestly don't remember how the fuck it happened, but I guess we realized we were both getting older and it'd be half the bumps, and we know we had good chemistry together. So I think it more just like it was kind of like the friends that they don't even remember how they transitioned from friends into fucking. It just kind of happened. I think that's kind of what happened with us.
hell yeah, I get it. And man, I gotta give you guys props. I've been to some wrestling shows and I've seen some teams work. Whenever I was there at the Crossroads Mall, it was you two against the Rhinestone Cowboys. I was filming, and just how crisp and just you guys. They say a well-oiled machine, and that was the definition, man. Like just boom, you know what the hell you're doing. And another thing, you guys are responsible for making new fans, in my opinion. It kind of segues me into where I'm going with these fan questions. We got fan questions. You've made some huge fans in the PWL area. They love you guys. So
they're loyal. We love people there.
and we'll hop into one. A couple of them here. Rebecca May Hicks asks you, what's been your favorite match against Bruce Gray when you were feuding, and what was your favorite match together as DD Trash?
Well, there was the one in the church that I was just talking about with me versus Bruce. And then we also had 2 Chillicothe death matches in Dayton, Ohio, which were pretty awesome, which is the only times you'll ever see Bruce ever eat barbed wire or thumbtacks or bleed. You wouldn't think he's done any of that stuff, but it's all been in matches with me. So probably those 2 would be mine, the Chillicothe death matches. And as far as DD Trash as a team, I have the teams that we like working with, but it's hard for me to remember one match from another. Just remember, we always have good matches with them. Like Warhouse from Ohio, Pat the Bruiser and Crosshairs Kelly. We have crazy good chemistry with them. Against Aaron Williams, teaming with anyone is always really good. The Bad Dudes, Jeremiah and Pompano Joe from Cincinnati. We always have excellent matches with them. I'm positive I'm going to leave the Heat Seekers. We've always had really good matches with the Heat Seekers at ASW, but I'm sure I'm going to leave some out. But right off the top of my head, those are some of the teams that we have best matches with.
And teams that deserve a little bit of talking about them, a little bit of credit. So I'm glad you brought them up there.
Definitely.
We got Noah Ray chiming in. I don't know if we're going to like this one. Let's see. Ascaron, don't shoot the messenger, man. I'm just reading this verbatim. Ask Ron how my boot up his ass feels and if he's cleared Shane Storm's shoe mark off of Gary's face yet. I have no clue what that means, but you probably do.
Ask him how it feels to get thrown over my head like a child despite having 120 pounds on me, and how it's going to feel like when I do it again.
Yeah, Noah Ray's a big boy. Well,
not too big for me to throw. I can fall away slam anyone.
And you fall away slam Noah Ray? What was that on an ASW show?
I don't think I have an ASW, but I definitely have an ICS.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done it like 3 and 4. He's not even my biggest fall away slam. He's like my 6th biggest, maybe.
What was your biggest?
Probably Beastman or Pat the Bruiser, whoever's bigger between those 2.
Shoo. I don't even want to step in the ring. I don't want to be around Beastman, man. He's scary as hell. Sweetest dude in the world. I'm looking through. There was okay. The no ring deathmatch scene started up lately. I'm pretty sure you've dabbled. Tell me, compare and contrast not only the crowds, because I'm noticing different crowds, the locker rooms, the vibes, a no ring deathmatch show as opposed to a traditional pro wrestling show.
I've actually only done one whole show that was no ring death matches. It was in Pittsburgh.
Evil Ways.
Yep, there you go. I'm glad you said that because I knew it was like not your traditional company name, but I was
Mm-hmm.
never going to think of what it was called. But that's the only one I did, and that was fucking awesome because that was like one of those deals to where it was like it was in pretty much a dirty ass basement in downtown Pittsburgh
Yep.
that was cleared out, and there'd be like a rock band would play, and there'd be two death matches, and a
Mm-hmm.
rock band would play, and there'd be two death matches, and the fans were like right the fuck up on you. There was no separation,
Yeah.
and they were into it, and it was cool as shit. Like I said, it was a little bit easier to give them a match they think was exciting because they weren't really wrestling fans. They'd never seen anyone hit someone with a light tube. Everything was exciting them, so that
Yep.
was really easy. So I'm not the best person to ask about how to compare and contrast because the one time I did it, I think I had a pretty big advantage because it was not kind of like a bot show and not your typical wrestling crowd.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. And what I like about those shows, like you say, the people come to see the bands, but I was at probably the next Evil Ways show after you were. I always hear those fans out back afterwards. Man, I didn't know pro wrestling was like this. I'm a wrestling fan now. Making new
They were
fans,
watching
man.
Raw that night, like, where's the fucking light tubes, man?
Right? Yeah. So yeah, it's a different crowd. We're bringing new fans into wrestling. They're even starting to run them here in West Virginia, Morgantown. We had a no
Oh,
ring
really?
show recently. Yeah.
I did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, maybe get old Ron Mathis on one of those in a perfect world someday soon.
I do like money.
Fair enough. You like saving it up from what I hear, so hell yeah, props to you.
Yeah, I
What
like
can you
bringing the money I make home with me.
There you go. Hell yeah. There's a quote. There's a quote for up and coming talent. Bring the home money home with you. What can you tell me about working for Matt Tremont?
Matt is the coolest guy in the business. Matt's fucking awesome. He's always, because it is expensive as shit to get to Jersey from Ohio. The tolls are fucking preposterous. It's like $35 each way before you even start with gas. So Matt, for years and years and years, is taking care of me. Paid for all my trans, plus give me a decent payday. He's always worked with me about trying to get a carload of people to work with me, and then he started booking Bruce and Tyler too, which was the beginning of WTF, which we've been doing ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, me and Matt started about the same time, and we're both jumping right into the deathmatch scene at the same time. We were both making a name for ourselves in CZW at the same time, and he clearly did a little better job than me about it. But we go back that far, and he's always treated me like I said, I'm just some no name guy, and he'd drop good money to get our car down there. So I'll never not respect Matt. He's one of the best dudes in the business, if not the best.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I've only always heard good things about Matt Tremont, and by God, I'm meeting him before it's all said and done. That's a hero of wrestling in my book, for sure.
Absolutely. And all the guys he's helped too.
No
He's
doubt.
got his training school in there, and everyone that churns out of there, they're good workers, and they love the shit out of him because he's just so good to them. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's super respected and still doesn't get his due, in my opinion, but I think his day will come.
No matter how many dues he gets, it'd never be enough because really, like, unless you actually get to know him, you don't know what a good guy that is.
Hell yeah. No doubt. Paradigm is an
Hell yeah,
awesome,
man.
different type of wrestling. Just has a different vibe. What can you tell the audience that's not familiar with Paradigm? Sell it to them.
Well, for one, Paradigm, it's like what we always say around there is it's a streaming product. Don't get me wrong, they sell tickets and all whatnot, but the area they're in, it's pretty hard to draw, but that's not the point anyway. They'll film like 2 shows at once, or even sometimes more. Sometimes it's like fucking 6-hour tapings,
Okay.
and then they get all of these little episodes built up, and then they release them on Fight TV, and then that's where they actually get their followers and people watch it. And like that's another place where I was actually never part of the plans there, but they had an injury and they needed someone for a hardcore tournament. And that's one thing where it's good being a hardcore guy. They knew I'm around, so they got a hold of me. And then when I delivered there, and they brought me in and I delivered again. And Gary, the promoter, he's really good about that. If you deliver for him, it's not one of those places where you work your ass off and you never see any reward for it. Like I feel like I always go above and beyond at Paradigm, and Gary, he knows it and he rewards me and like treats me as such, which, like I said, means a lot, because a lot of times in independent wrestling, if you don't have that name value about you and they know you need the bookings, like they know there's only so many places to work and, you know, I got to eat. So they'll just not acknowledge how hard I'm working for him. But that's not Gary. Paradigm's awesome. And it's a good such a different roster because he doesn't bring in all people from the same place.
Right.
He brings in people from all kinds of different territories, and he has like all kinds of different matches. There's hardcore tournaments. There's like UWFI, which I don't know how familiar you are with that.
Oh, sure. Shoot style.
Yeah, he does a lot of that stuff, which is fucking not in my wheelhouse, but he booked me to do it, and I got better at it as I went. But like, there's no way if you watch Paradigm for long if you won't find something you're into, because there's so many different types of wrestling on there, and he's big that it's different there, that it's not your normal wrestling. It's slow down, grab a hold, take your time. It's like, no, I want you go, 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 because that's our style. Okay. It's like a show from beginning to end that never stops, and you won't stop seeing different styles. Like, if you can check it out on Fight TV, I definitely recommend it.
Oh yeah, definitely do. I've had for years. I've always enjoyed it. Do you think that Go 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 is more catered? It's because it's a streaming product, and you don't have the fans there, you know, necessarily to tell the story to. You're more trying to tell it to the folks at home.
I think it's a mixture of that, and also it's just what Gary likes, which I have no problem with that. Like, he's like, he is very big with his advertising that we are very against the grain and it's not normal. Like, we're going to have 15 matches on this taping, and the fan gets too many. He's like, yep, fuck you. Next show we're doing 20, because it's the whole Paradigm's different in every possible way, and that's what it's supposed to be. You either get it or you don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, got you. And that brings up a little interesting point, a little avenue to go down here. You've been in the business a while. You've seen a lot of changes. Here we are. You're talking about a product mainly catered to streaming. We're not worried about selling the tickets. We're worried about the streaming numbers. Tell me about how the internet and social media and streaming outlets, how that's evolved over the years and some of the changes you've seen.
Well, the changes I've seen, that I've been around long enough that when I started, it was nothing. It was, you know, maybe you'd see a clip on MySpace. There was nothing on social media. Streaming, I don't think existed. I saw it go from it doesn't exist to pay-per-views are the big thing, to streaming now. And like anything else, there's good and there's bad, but I think more so it's all good, because it's made the wrestling world smaller in a good way. Like, it's easier to find what you want.
Yep.
Like when I was in high school, it's like, do you like WCW? Do you like WWF? Well, fuck you. It's what's on. Which, it's great. I love watching television wrestling. I have no problem with it all, but it's great that if someone does start getting disenchanted with that, then it doesn't mean, well, I don't like wrestling anymore. That there's a million other options you can go find.
Exactly.
Like when I was getting started, everyone was telling me that enjoy these next few years, do what you can, but independent wrestling is going to be dead in 5 years. It's not going to exist. And it wasn't a ridiculous statement, because when I was getting started in wrestling, if I wrestled in front of 35 fans, I'd be like, fuck yeah, there's like 35 people out there. This is awesome. Because there was 15 people more often than not, unless you worked for Ring of Honor or something like that. There was literally 15 people out there. So the fact that now it's so accessible, like the Indies has never been healthier than it is now. That's what, like, I don't get about these old Reagan Mayday sons of bitches. It's like, yeah, there was a lot about the wrestling that I fell in love with that I like a lot more than the wrestling now. But how can you look at the changes and not think it's an improvement? You know what I mean? Wrestlers aren't dying at 38 every single fucking day. They're not like getting released from the WWE and killing themselves because there's nowhere else to make any money. Like, I don't see how anyone could not consider, like I said, not saying it's perfect, not saying everything's better, but how you couldn't consider it improvement is beyond me.
Hell yeah. And like I've said it, I'm glad you said that, because I've said it on the podcast. I've been a wrestling dork since 1991. I've been going to shows all my life. I think right now is the best era. It's accessible. Fans are coming out. We're making new fans. So, yeah, I think it's the best it's ever.
Here's the thing. If anything, the biggest problem right now is that wrestling is too good. Because, like, like back in the day, you could take any Seth Rollins pay-per-view match from this year, and if he has it in 2003, it's a legendary match that's never forgotten about. But now everyone is so good, and there's so many good matches. You can have an absolute perfect banger, and no one's going to remember it in 2 weeks.
I'll be damned. That's a crazy point that you brought up. I mean, it's a good point because, yeah, everybody's so damn good, and it's all just kind of getting lost in the shuffle, you're saying.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying, too. If you talk about the health of wrestling, how good is it that I think one of the biggest problem is everyone's too good?
Hell yeah. Look at us go, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, because you know what I mean? Like, how are you supposed to have a classic match nowadays when every fucking match is because everyone's just so goddamn good?
Well, knowing that, what do you do going into a match to try to make it stand out?
The one thing, like I said, I don't think wrestling is perfect anymore. Or no, it's never perfect. I mean, what I meant to say was I don't think that everything, all the changes are better. Like the one change that I wish we could get away from, and again, this is one man's opinion. I'm not one of those people that's like, this is the wrestling I like and that's right. I'm not fucking Jim Cornette. I realize there's all kinds of different things make the world move.
Thank you.
But fuck, I completely lost track of my point. What was I saying?
I'd asked you what you do.
Oh yeah, I remember now. It's the thing about how I think what's missing from wrestling that I think needs to get back to is like this fight forever mentality. Okay. Like I don't want to be grumpy that they're enjoying the match and they want it to last. Shut up. It's no. I miss the days when not fight forever. I want my guy to win.
Okay.
Yeah, I miss the fans wanting a winner and wanting a loser, and not getting mad at the end when the match is over, like, oh man, those stupid bookers, they should have booked my guy to win. Instead of like, oh, that stupid asshole, he cheated to beat my guy. Like there's no emotional connection anymore. Like I instead of saying fight forever, I would rather hear 100% of the crowd chanting, let's go this guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I miss there being emphasis on the end result.
Yeah, on the story.
Yeah, winners and losers, like it's gotten carried away where wrestlers all say wins and losses don't matter so much at all. And on the one hand, that's true, but it's supposed to not matter on our side of the curtain.
Right.
On their side of the curtain, it's supposed to be the only fucking thing that matters. Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
No, it does. It certainly does. And it has me thinking about our fans here in West Virginia. I'd say if that's going to happen anywhere, it's happening here. The fans, we don't have a bunch of smart fans is what I'm saying. Smart fans aren't going to PWL shows. They're playing they like you and they want you to beat up Jeff Paul.
Exactly.
Am I crazy or do you see that as well?
No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like when I'm in West Virginia, if I'm a babyface, I never get a feeling when I'm like selling in the heat that they don't want me to fight forever. They want me to pile drive this motherfucker.
Right. End it now and we'll cheer.
Yeah.
And we're talking about changes. We're talking about West Virginia. It's something I brought up a few times to veterans on the podcast. Recently in West Virginia, I don't even know if you're aware, who knows, but there's been some cleaning up. We've weeded out some of the bad folks. Have you seen changes? And if so, what have you seen?
It depends on like what time frame you're talking about, you know, because like it goes through cycles. And right now, I'm definitely like we're coming out of a real rough time where there was a lot of entitlement. A lot of guys like here was a big problem in West Virginia. And this again isn't just West Virginia. It's just I spent a lot of time there. If you go to wrestling school and pay your dues every single week, and you show up and you're putting the ring up and taking it down, and you're doing everything right, but in the ring you're not getting it. You're not getting the bumps right. You're not getting the psychology. You're not getting the ring. You're just not getting it. That doesn't equal you're cleared to wrestle. Okay. Like there's this attitude right now that no, I showed up to school and I paid my dues and I paid my money. That means I get to be on shows. I'm a wrestler. That's not the fuck how education works. Like you can't go to medical school, pay your tuition, fail every single test, and then be like, no, I paid my tuition. I'm a doctor.
Right.
No, you failed the fucking test. You're not a doctor. But for some reason in West Virginia wrestling schools, that's not the mentality. It's they pay their dues, they're not getting it. They pay their dues, but they're not getting it. They pay their dues, but they're not getting it. Well, fuck, they paid their dues. I have to clear them. And now they're on shows, and now I have to risk getting injured by them. Like, that's a problem that still exists. Like, again, I took it negative right off the bat, but that's what I was to get to, is that's something I think is starting to get worked on between like the Power Slam Academy with Chance Profit and Jeff's doing his best, and Aaron West at the PWL school to at least make them, like I said, my past 2 experiences with guys getting cleared have been good. So I'm hoping that these are signs of that going in the right direction, because I'm telling you, man, it drives me fucking nuts. This mentality of he's cleared because he showed up for 6 months. That's not how education works. And that's what needs fixed. It's a big problem in West Virginia, but everywhere, but especially in West Virginia. At some point, someone needs to be said, like, hey, man, if you want to go to another school and get cleared, you can, but you're not getting it from me because you're not getting this. Even though they've been paying, even though they're nice, this is a business.
Yep. Okay. I love it. Yep. Makes sense to me. We're getting in the final few minutes here. We're in the final stretch. I like to ask everybody, and it stumps everybody, Ron, so if it stumps you, no worries. But I ask everybody for a crazy road story.
I was really hoping as you were saying that I'd be the one that wouldn't, but I don't. I go to shows and then go home. Like, I don't go out to eat after shows. I only stay in a hotel if I have a show in the area the next day.
Okay.
But now as I'm buying time, I can think of one that's not necessarily crazy, but kind of funny.
Well, funny's even better.
So me and Bruce were on a show in Dayton with Kevin Sullivan. And the next day we were on a show with him also in fucking, I don't know, some town in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
So we crashed at the same place, and me and Bruce are giving him a ride to the show the next day. And I'm driving, and Kevin Sullivan says, hey, Ronnie, how far are we from the building? I have to pee. I look down the GPS. I say, 0.3 miles. That's actually the building right up there. And I point at it, and you can see it. And he goes, oh, no time. Gets out of the car at a stop sign, flips out his Taskmaster dick, and starts taking a piss on the side of the road with a line of cars behind us and at a red light. And, like, it's funny enough as it is, but what makes it even funnier is my question is this. How far are we? 0.3 miles. No time. What the fuck was going to be close enough?
Yeah. What answer did
I
you want?
thrown a rock and hit the building. Like, why even ask? What was close enough?
Yeah, just do it, man.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I love Taskmaster. That's funny as shit. I just hope one of those people in one of those cars, even though, the chances are against it, was like, is that the fucking Taskmaster up there pissing?
I was thinking the same shit. I hope at least one person recognized him.
I hope so.
For sure, man. Ohio's got its wrestling fans, and they was watching some WCW. I know my friend hit him in the head with a snowball at a show here in Fairmont back when we was kids. That was pretty cool. Of course, Kevin didn't know who did it, or my friend's probably still be in the hospital.
You guys probably thought he was legitimately the devil back then, so you're probably pretty scared.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we don't want him messing with us. I tell you, what confused me as a kid was The Undertaker coming out of that casket. I believed wrestling till then. I thought, I don't know about that. But
well, see, when I was a kid, I knew, I knew that it was a show, and but I literally never ever thought about it. It's just something I knew in the complete back of my head, but it never crossed my mind.
Okay.
That's what I miss. That's how I wish people could get again, but you can't. The world's just past that.
Yeah, it's so weird nowadays. If they're smart, they're a snob, and if they don't know near enough. I don't know.
Let's be honest. As much as we wish people believed wrestling, if you met an adult who thought pro wrestling was real, what would your thought be?
Yeah, they're fucking idiot,
how does this motherfucker wipe their own ass?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is what it is.
I don't know. I really think there's still some folks out there that believe it. There's some people that get pretty damn hype at these shows.
Yeah, they're getting hyped. That's what I think that's the best we can hope for now is people that enjoy to play along.
Yeah.
Not to be negative, but I honestly, if someone believes that everything in pro wrestling is real, I'm honestly concerned for them.
Believe me, I'm one of those that loves to go out in the crowd and play along. I know you're a bad guy, so I'll give you hell, and I know you're a good guy, so I'll cheer you on. There's times I'm backstage and I say, I'm going out in the crowd for this one. I got to make some noise.
And let's even say, playing along is the best we can hope for might be a bit of an overstatement. The best we can hope for them to get lost in the moment.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to have that David Arquette in the car on Ready to Rumble. Diamond Dallas Page allergies. Like I don't think we're ever going to get back to that. But
bro, I'm that guy. I'm such a dork, especially, now that I know these guys. My best friend's a wrestler. I'm there recording. Saturday, I was recording. It was my 40th birthday. So, of course, I had a few beers in me, but I teared up a few times recording. And I always make myself look from that viewfinder and actually look up at the wrestling so I can take it in and actually see it and not take it through the viewfinder. So, I'm that guy. I'm that dork. You got him.
well, if there wasn't at least a few left, we'd be in trouble.
There you go. You got me, by God. We're in the final 10 minutes, Ron. In the final 10, I give everybody a chance to promote their socials, any merch, any upcoming appearances or matches, any words of wisdom for upcoming wrestlers or to fans. Whatever you want to put out there, the platform's all yours, sir.
Well, I got Twitter, which is Ron Mathis 13. On Facebook, I'm Ron Mathis. I'll be the shirtless gentleman. I don't have a Instagram. I don't think I have any other socials other than that. My upcoming dates, like I said, I usually know what I have coming up in the next few days, and beyond that, I have to look at my calendar so I can tell you. I don't know when this is coming out, but I can tell you for sure that I have XVW this Tuesday in Dayton,
Okay.
which will be me versus Ganger in a street fight. And then Saturday, I have a double shot, ACW in Kentucky at a convention. And then ASW in Beckley is doing a chili festival show.
Yep.
And that right there is my next 7 days, which is all the more I can keep memorized without looking in my phone. So check out my socials because I'm always promoting everything. But there's a pretty good chance if you're watching this, I'm coming close to you.
Hell yeah. And you mentioned ASW. I can't believe I didn't bring up Gary Dameron until the end of the show. He loves you guys, obviously. What can you tell the audience about Gary Dameron?
Gary's another one. He's another one of the best dudes in wrestling. It's like sometimes wrestlers, if they get someone who they know isn't a wrestler promoting shows, they'll try to take advantage of them and just assume they're stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Gary ain't that. But what he'll do is he'll let you think he's that, and he'll leave you enough rope to hang yourself because you'll try to treat him like an asshole when he's not.
Right.
And he's also always been really good to me. When he first brought me into ASW, he didn't know who I was. It was the recommendation of Matt Connard because we wanted to get a group going there that we'd been doing at Remix. But once I got in there and I worked hard, he saw who I was, and he's given me countless opportunities. He put me in the ring with the Hardy Boys, which there's not many shindy guys who can say that. A lot of them can say they've wrestled Matt, but not many can say they've wrestled them both at the same time. And I did 100% because of Gary. He's got me and Bruce, assuming Bruce can get better. We're wrestling the Cardona and Myers in November at ASW.
Nice.
Gary's been nothing but fair with money and more than fair and opportunities and bookings and if you're missing out on ASW as a show, you're missing out. And if you're missing out on Gary as a person, you're missing out because that's the thing too. If you buy a ticket, he is going to be standing there when you buy the ticket and he talks to every single fan that comes through those doors. And he never draws any less than 300. And a lot of times it's way more than 300, but he's talking to every single one of them. Even to the point now when he's managing us, sometimes we have to be like running through the building to go find him because it's that important to him to talk to every single fan, even though he's managing us now and he has other things to do. You're going to get to interact with Gary. He's the last of his kind.
Hell yeah. Love to hear it. I love to hear it. Man, we're so glad to have you. It's an honor. You may not think you're a big deal, but I was excited for this one. You're a big deal in my fucking
Let's put it this
book.
way. I don't think I'm a big deal, but I know I'm very, very good. I'll say that.
Damn right. Goddamn right. And a lot of folks are excited for this episode to drop, so I think you're doing pretty well for yourself. And I think we just touched the tip of the iceberg on this interview, so we'd love to have you back. And we hit up Bruce, too, but Bruce, Bruce is kind of going through some things at the moment. Maybe we can get you both together at some time.
Yeah. Give him a while. Let him sort through some stuff.
Of course. Totally understandable. I can't imagine. Any final words for the audience, Ron Mathis?
Check out my dog.
Hell yeah, what's the dog's name?
Topanga.
Topanga? Uh-oh, okay.
There he is. Hey, baby. Look at your doggy.
That's how you...
That's why. So if anyone's been wondering why I keep looking off the screen like an asshole, it's because she's nudging me and stuff.
Well, at least you weren't just browsing through your phone like the asshole I interviewed last night.
Who was that?
Billy Knox. Whenever your paths cross, and they will, bust him in the head with a light tube.
If there's one handy, I'll be sure to.
Yeah, I wouldn't talk shit unless he was my best friend. I ain't that brave.
Yeah. That's awesome. The people I've talked shit about are not my best friends.
Hell yeah, that's the difference between me and you. I appreciate it. Hey,
Fuck
Rob.
Bruce. Now I talk shit about my best friend.
Bubby, I'll ask you to hang on the line with me if you don't mind. To the listeners, you know how we do. Treat each other with kindness and respect. Go out and support some independent wrestling. And while you're at it, go ahead and live your dreams. You might even be talking to Ron Mathis, doing a damn podcast one day. You never know. We love you. Stay tuned. So much good shit coming up. See you next time.